And we are live. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever it is you are in the world, and welcome to another edition of Living World of Darkness, Rage Across New York. Our scene starts in late afternoon hours in Manhattan, uh, towards the area of downtown, south part of the city. A small exhibit is being put up by a local historical society. They've done various functions in the past, promoting artists and smaller, uh, smaller productions of various historical reenactments and things of that nature. After contracting out a few individual companies to help, um, a contact got in touch with one Cinnamon Harris, offering work. After some of the work that they had seen on her environmental blog, as well as other stories that had been published with her particular camera work, she was contacted by Ulster Events and Planning. And they offered her a considerable amount of money, considering that she is something of a unknown in the city broadly, though every company she has worked for has been very happy with what she's done thus far. They got her a bit cheaper than maybe what they might have paid somebody who had professional accreditations under something like National Geographic or Time magazine. All the same, they offer her a fairly lucrative deal, $700 for just doing some preliminary PR work. And as a rising star, as her fame is building, this has to be a temptation that Miss Harris can't put down. And so the pass was sent to her through FedEx, and she now comes towards the office building.
Yeah, so now we'll get off well, she got off the nearest bus probably, or subway or metro, whatever is closest. She has a backpack with her that contains her camera, tablet, portfolio, which is on the tablet still. Um, and also, as usual, holds her 90s style tape recorder, and she'll not really. She's not really in a hurry. She's just casually walking towards the office building. She has a little bit of a hangover still left, although most of it is gone, luckily, after her escapades after the party at the Fianna Castle, where she, at the party, she didn't drink a whole lot, but afterwards, let's just say she doesn't have much memories on how she actually got back in her bed. Now she's just walking, just looking around. She's never been in this particular part of the city, so it's always exciting to be in a new area. And yeah, till she reaches the building itself. She's already checking it out to see where's the like main entrance, how it's decorated, how many windows there are, how the light is, if she can actually find emergency exits, because you never know. From time to time, it helps if you just pull one of them open just to get that extra light fall. But it always depends on where they're located outside, because sometimes that's not the best thing to do. So yeah, she's checking out the environment.
She'll have no problems kind of scoping the place out. It's a open-ended lobby with sort of a glass atrium all the way around from one side to the other, so it actually exits on both streets. The sides of the building that face east and west are oriented with what look to be like elevator shafts and small reception areas and things of that nature. There's a front desk on either side. In the center is the sort of structure that denotes like a main elevator wall. And a member of the company, or rather the security, steps forward, and he's wearing just kind of, a basic blazer and slacks. He looks, fairly nice. And he approaches, and he has a clipboard in hand, and he just simply asks, name?
Harris, Cinnamon Harris.
Yes. Welcome, Miss Harris. They've been expecting you upstairs. And he'll pull out like a small device, which looks sort of like a card swipe. And he'll hold out his hand for her ID badge.
She'll grab it, hands it over.
And he'll simply just run it over sort of like a circular disc in the middle. And you'll hear the item chime, or the little device chime, and little green lights go on. And she'll hand it back, or he'll hand it back. All right, Miss Harris, that should get you upstairs to the event floor. If you need anything, do not hesitate. We will happily assist you in anything we can.
Thank you. She'll smile, walk on, towards the main elevator.
The main elevator is there.
Yay!
It doesn't have a keypad, however. It has the instead of a keypad, it simply has a sort of like a little screen with a reader device on the bottom.
Swipes past like in front of it, like that.
There's a little sort of chime, and the light goes green.
Awesome. This is awesome.
And you'll see that the elevator car has indeed been called.
She'll wait, just checking around. Actually already lowering kind of, or hanging her backpack on one shoulder and opening it to grab her camera. Because you never know. If there's no one there, she just might as well start shooting the photos straight away and then be off again. Would be weird, but yeah, could be. It's not the first weird job that she's had. So yeah, she'll wait until it gets into the elevator.
When the doors open, you notice that the floor itself is very devoid of walls. It looks to be that any walls that might have been in there were removable. You can see sort of the tracks along the ceiling where temporary walls could be put in place. But you do notice that there's a lot of crates that are being unpacked and tables being set up, lights that are being put in by various technicians. You do notice that there are a fair number of what look to be college students walking around in sort of these green and blue shirts that on the back of them they say Brand Center. And a woman turns up from one of the tables and walks towards Cinnamon with a clipboard in hand. Can I help you?
I would stand up here.
The photographer, yes. And she'll hold out her hand. It's very nice to meet you.
Hi.
You came very highly recommended, and when I saw your work, I couldn't resist.
Really? Awesome.
Your environmental pieces about the river cleanup, I loved it.
Yeah, they're being broadcast. Well, not broadcasted. Wow. They're still at the Theodine lobby. Actually, I don't think they're planning to replace them very soon, which is kind of awesome in itself. So yeah, cool.
Well, my name is Sophia Quinn. It's wonderful to meet you.
Hi. Well, you know my name. Just please, just call me Cinna. Not entire Miss Harris thing or Cinnamon. Just Cinna will do.
That's fine. If you wish, you can call me Sophie. My dad hates it that I use more informal uh, conversation around the office, or in this case, our exhibits. But
Mhm.
he's not going to
Yeah.
cut me off anytime soon.
Oh, I know that feeling. It's like I know I should be more professional, but it kind of misses the human touch at that point. And well, that means you're already half in the buckets of the big boys, and I don't like that. I prefer my independence. Eh,
Fair enough. I can respect that. Um, we don't really have a format. We were hoping you could take anywhere between 200 and 300 pictures, and just select whatever you like, whatever you think is your best work, and just put it out for us, and we will decide what we put in our brochures.
mhm. Yeah. How many pictures do you have in mind for the brochures?
We're probably going anywhere from 7 to 12. We haven't decided exactly on the layout. We have some graphic design people that are kind of giving out the text and everything that we want, the actual design, backgrounds, and things of that nature.
Mhm.
We're deciding whether we're going to go busy or sort of minimalist on the brochures at this point. But that's all not my particular area of expertise. I'm just coordinating for my dad.
Mm, that's fine. It's, do you did he give you anything like is there any centerpiece or something that you really need to have in the brochure, a featured article?
We have a couple of tapestries that we're really looking to really put out there. Um, we have a few statues that are on loan to us by some private collectors.
Mhm.
Um, Obviously, some very scant artifacts and things of that nature. We have some pots, a few weapons, very little in that direction. But um, we have found some things that we really want to put out there. The statues and tapestries definitely are what we are probably looking for the most. But I'll leave it up to your discretion what you feel is eye-catching.
Okay.
And our graphic design team will work around what you give us.
Okay. Cool. Still, if there's like a centerpiece to your exhibit, that would help because then I would know where to shoot my angle from. You know.
Um, she'll look at her clipboard. I don't know if our main pieces have been unpacked yet, but anything that you want to go ahead and snap now, let us know.
Mhm.
And just float around. Don't mind the tech guys and don't mind the volunteers.
Okay.
They're all doing their own thing.
No, I can then certainly just walk around and shoot pictures here and there of pieces that are already standing. But as I said, if you really have that centerpiece ready, let me know. I'll wait for it, and we'll see if we can make at least a nice collection of several pictures that you can use. Like maybe you want that like on your front page, um, stuff like that. You might want to have one of those on your front page, but then another picture of the centerpiece, like in the rest of the brochure, like so that it comes back and you really can see, like, okay, this is it. This is the one thing that we really are very proud of. Or also, what you have to think about is you said you don't know yet how you want the brochure to be styled, like busy or classy or businesslike or.
Um, we got on this project a little after another company fell through, so we're actually trying to pick up the pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So we're kind of last minute here, but
Okay.
we're thinking probably something of a classical design. Probably something that centers around the theme and the motif of what we're going to be doing here. Obviously, we're not going to overplay it, but we're working out details right now, and I don't have too many answers for you on that front.
Okay. Well, it kind of depends on how you want the pictures to finally end up. I mean, the way I'm hearing right now, it's best to make them as clean as possible, right? Like no people in the background, no, not someone
Oh,
standing
no, no,
next to
no.
something. No,
We
just
much prefer to have them as clean as possible. I have expressed an option or expressed interest in getting you here after we do a few early showings before we actually do an official opening, simply so we can actually get some pictures of people in the exhibit while it's here.
mm-hmm.
We're
Okay.
deciding whether we're going to go with a formal event or school age groups when it comes down to situations like that. But I am going to go see the centerpieces should be here around 8. It's about 7:30 right now, so I am going to go check on those. If you want to make your way around, please do.
I probably will need at least 2 to 3 hours to get everything. So just take your time, and if you have them ready, give me a shout, right?
Oh, absolutely. And she'll kind of point in towards the back left of the room. Over there,
Mm-hmm.
craft services, help yourself to whatever. There's more than enough food here for everybody. If you like meats and cooked vegetables and things of that nature, they actually went for like a full-on buffet rather than snacks. So,
Wow. I guess I've already had dinner. I'll just grab myself a cup of coffee and then I'll start. I mean, prefer to actually get some work done before I get paid.
sounds good.
Okay. Well, don't let me keep you. Oh, is there a place where I can put my backpack that it won't actually be thrown into a dumpster?
Yeah, if and she's just going to point over to where the volunteers have all kind of gathered their own things. If you just right over there with them, everybody's been background checked and screened, so I don't think you need to worry about your equipment if it comes to that.
No, I have most of my equipment with me.
Okay,
And it's hard to take pictures if you don't have your camera.
that is true. Okay, I really need to get downstairs to be there to receive these things, so please, you have your run of the place. If you need anybody to move to get angles you want, just let anybody know, okay?
My mouth is big enough for that.
All right, Miss Harris, I will see you in hopefully about 30 minutes.
Take your time, and it's Cinna, please.
Cinnamon, I'm sorry. And she walks to the elevator and takes her own badge that's sort of hanging off her belt, and she'll run it across the reader. Doors will open. She'll go down and disappear.
Cinna will first place her backpack at the assorted stuff of all the volunteers, and she'll start unpacking, kind of kneeling down. She's used to do that in all kinds of circumstances, so she has her camera up and about, well, ready. Uh, Fairly quickly, she'll leave her tablets, and well, of course, the recording device is pretty much something that's always in her backpack, but not necessarily there to be used. So um, she makes sure she has the appropriate lenses with her, actually taking several of them. And then she first makes her way over to the coffee table.
There is a just there are those two. There are two big of like the fancy silver or like coffee pots that are usually about 2 to 3 feet tall, and they have like the nozzle on the end. You can smell the coffee, very rich and aromatic. There's like a hazelnut and just a standard coffee. You see what look to be like um, sort of high-end, organic, non-GMO, grass-fed creamer set out. Um, it's all very liberal, so to speak, in sort of that new age mentality, that healthy eating mentality. So it's probably likely to assume that most of the people that work for this company are probably a little bit on the left, so to speak.
Oh, that's nice. Cinnamon can definitely appreciate that. She'll go for the hazelnut coffee. She won't pour any milk in it because you're not gonna poison your coffee like that. she but she just takes it black. And she starts just walking around a little, slowly sipping the coffee, making sure that she has that finished before she actually turns on her camera. So she's just checking out the place, checking out the objects that are already displayed. Yeah.
There are a few cases that are open, so to speak. Like they haven't been shut and locked. And there look to be people that actually work for the company that is providing the artifacts. They're dressed sort of in like khaki pants and with t-shirts, like polo shirts, nice polo button-up shirts that have the Ulster logo on it. And they're actually there with white gloves, and they're arranging various artifacts inside the cases. You notice that some of the brand individuals in their green and blue shirts are actually like hooking up the wiring and setting up like the basically like the sign placards that kind of give you the information, the rundown of what every exhibit is and how it relates to the overall theme and motif.
Okay. She'll she'll also look at the way that the place is lit, and just make sure that she knows where she can stand and where she cannot, where the light will be hampering her pictures or photos, or where it will actually be of some use for her. She'll yeah, as I said, she's just making an entire round and then coming back to the coffee table as she finishes her coffee, places the cup back on the table.
As you make your way around, you'll notice that the actual floor itself is completely open air, and the windows that span the entirety of the building have no sort of curtains in them. You might have a slight tint to them to keep the harshness of the daylight out at a minimum, as without hampering too much on the actual scenery. You're well enough above most of the surrounding buildings that you can see sort of the entirety of the New York skyline. There's like that red fiery glow coming in from the west as the sun is setting. Off to the east, you can kind of see the color playing across the East River and the Atlantic Ocean just beyond. Things are being set up in a way that, like, there's various partitions set up so they can be up against walls and have a background to them. You notice that the tapestries, almost all of them have been set up, and they do look incredibly old.
Interesting. First of all, she's gonna take a few test shots to see how the light is working. Of course, she also has to make a few pictures of the skyline and of the setting sun and the lights fall on top of the other buildings of the city. But then she'll focus her attention on first one, some of the simpler pieces. And as I said, she's like checking out, making test pictures, shooting some of the some of the objects just to see what does the light do when I use this lens, and when I'm standing here, when I'm standing there. Actually, from time to time, she actually asks a person like, "Hey, can you stand over there for a moment? I just need to make sure," and just shoots a few pictures. I'll delete them. Don't worry. I'm not gonna put you on anything you don't want. So yeah, she's literally using people as test objects as well for to just get the light right, and then she'll walk over to the tapestries.
The two tapestries, roll me your intelligence and I'll say academics at difficulty 8 and occult at difficulty 6, and you can choose whichever one you want.
It would be same dice pool for me, so I'll take the diff 6.
Okay.
Two successes.
Two successes. You see that these Cinnamon's fairly heavily invested into sort of Celtic and Gaelic type mythology.
Just mythology at random. She it's basically just whatever I know. I'm just wanted to make it legit that I could spout it.
Okay. Well, you find these tapestries that are basically set around the Samhain holiday or solstice.
So, and yeah.
Yeah. And it looks like, judging by the time that this exhibit's supposed to be set up, that it's supposed to run from about September to the end of October. So obviously there are some themes around sort of the Gaelic or the Celtic calendar, things of that nature. What you do know is that there seems to be a really lovely tapestry of the Morgan, and it's this three-aspected sort of dark mass in the middle, and it's obviously not there's no modern touch to it. It's very authentic in that sort of sense, but you definitely recognize the triple-headed or this tri-headed dark figure as the Morgan.
She'll actually study that one a little closer. She's like looking at it. Interesting. And just takes a certain lens just to make sure that, because I'm not a photographer and I have no clue, but I know that there are different lenses used for different kind of pictures. But just to get some more of the details of the tapestry, like making sure that she gets this one image and not the entire tapestry itself. But she's also studying it herself a little. She's like, oh, cool.
You notice that there is the next tapestry is a depiction of, and I'm gonna just absolutely ruin the pronunciation of this, but the Dagda?
The Dagda, yeah.
Yes. And it sort of depicts Morgan in a more feminine form, and the Dagda in sort of enraptured in one another. And it sits on the other side of a larger tapestry that the actual Morgan tapestry did. And in the center, you're going to need to roll me an occult check, difficulty, I'll say 7.
Intelligence occult?
Yes.
Okay. But yeah, there's something in the middle.
There is definitely something in the middle. Whatever this in the center is, it doesn't mean much to you. You look at it and you're like, oh, this must be like Arthurian, maybe King Arthur. Oh, I can see Keira Knightley there.
Wow.
Um,
It's kind of annoying her actually that she doesn't know what this thing in the middle is, because usually when something is in the middle, it's like the centerpiece of the centerpiece. Shit. So she's definitely gonna take a picture of that detail, because that's annoying. Because fuck, I want to know what that is.
you might be able to come back to it in a bit. The sun begins to set a little bit more of the horizon, and one of the buildings that is just a little bit more sort of southwest of the building you're in, that's just about the same size, sort of begins to cast a shadow over where you're standing. And that red glow sort of shimmers off some of the like metal accents around the actual banisters that are holding up the tapestries. And it sort of shines down directly in your eye just as it catches that right angle, and it just, it's an intense, bright, burning red, like right in your eyes.
How?
And when you turn, I'm guessing you probably blink to kind of clear your retinas.
Oh yeah. She's like, damn it. Damn it.
You're sort of standing in, when you turn, you see this sort of, these partitions set up to kind of make a, sort of this cordoned off area.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really only illuminated by the overhead lights, that sort of yellow glow, that almost golden glow from sort of soft spotlights. And it sort of sets everything in this eerie sort of ambiance. But within this corridor of partitions, you can see that it sort of is almost like a small tunnel, so to speak, and it has a sort of a T-junction.
Okay. And that wasn't there before, or she didn't notice it before?
It was there, you just maybe were caught up a little bit too much in the tapestries. They're beautiful tapestries.
They're beautiful tapestries. But with the light fading, I can't really do anything. Damn it. Sure, why not walk that? See what's there, maybe. She can't really shoot any. She's still gonna try and shoot a few pictures of the tapestries. Let me just make a check for that. That would be expression.
You don't have the photography skill, do you? Secondary skill.
No, because I didn't know there was one.
Okay. Make me a, let's see, perception. Perception and expression, sure.
Okay.
And yes, you can have photography as a secondary skill.
That's good to know. Only one lousy success. Yeah, light must be really off.
You can get some really cool pictures, maybe, of, like, that sort of shadow, something that might set really well as, like, a background layer of an actual sort of picture of these tapestries in the foreground.
Yeah, maybe if I tweak it a little, it's sure, but it's not. I have to come back at like after either if the lights faded more to see how the artificial lights are catching on this, and else I just have to come back like during daytime, not in the evening. Yeah, just on to some of the other items. This hallway will probably lead to something else, so
Right.
why not?
When you walk into the hallway, it is it's about 2 or 3 people wide, if they were standing shoulder to shoulder. And it has those sort of modern-style velvet ropes, which are the elastic ones, that retract on their own. And they're set right up against the walls, so that way no one, people know, don't touch this sort of stuff. But there are depictions, and I need you to roll Another intelligence occult. Difficulty 8.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I like this roll. I want to keep this roll.
You may
Just
keep
for the
that roll.
win.
You notice that these depictions are much darker in tone. They depict the battle with the Dagada against the Fomorians.
Mm-hmm.
You see pictures of the pictures of these odd, twisted, sort of monstrous visages depicted in these pictures. Most of this is modern artwork. There are a few authentic pieces from the 1600s and maybe the 1500s. But it is, it's obviously fitting with the motif. When you come to the end of this corridor, it splits off in two directions, and it looks like it kind of makes like a hexagonal sort of corridor that goes off in either direction and kind of culminates in an actual center,
Mm-hmm.
or like a full ring, so to speak.
Okay. Question though, more out of character actually, because Sina has met some Fomori, unfortunately. Uh, is there like, do these pictures like kind of remind her of that, or are they like way off and this is like, oh yeah, interesting.
Um, it's obviously there's the connection there. You know what a Fomori is, and you couldn't help but, if you heard the word Fomorian, you couldn't help but make the connection there. The depictions don't look like anything you've ever seen out of Fomori before. These look to be more mythological in nature, so it doesn't look like they have any real relevance or basis in fact. More of like, an oral history.
Okay, check. That's cool. Yeah, it'll still be like, oh, Fomori. Oh, okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right.
And yeah, she'll just continue. I'll go. She'll go with like clockwise, so she'll go left.
Okay. The depictions get much more sinister in nature. As you go along, you see just these more twisted forms. You see the depictions of the Twithidae being locked in battle, some of them being killed, some of them victorious.
Okay. It's cool. She'll take some of the pictures. Like she's gonna test see if she can get some of them photographed, just to make
Okay.
sure. See if that actually comes across. Mm. Oh, that's a bit better. And yeah, she'll continue.
Yep.
No reason not to.
As you come around to the full circle, sort of the apex of this circle, of this exhibit, this not circle, but hexagon, you come to another sort of partition that's open and leads into the center of this pentagon, or this hexagon. And the light in there is very dim. And there are obviously those black like curtains that sort of make like a tent over the centerpiece. So the light stays within and doesn't diffuse.
Mm-hmm.
And you notice that there is a very striking statue of Indek, the Fomorian king.
Okay. Yeah.
On this one, you can roll me a perception occult on.
That should be 4 dice, I believe. Let me see. Yeah. What's the diff?
That's just a dice pool of yes. Um, this seems to be more foreboding to you because you do notice that there are hints. They're not perfect. They're not the way that you've seen them. But there are some Garu glyphs on this piece. They're faded, and they're mixed in with what traditional Irish, or I'm sorry, not Irish, but Celtic glyphs and things of that nature and depictions that you might have seen before. This is more along the lines of, it seems like every now and then you might catch a hint of that maybe this was created or at least worked on by a Garu artist some time ago.
Interesting. Yeah, that does that does pique her interest. She doesn't really know much of Karoo Nation yet, but she at least knows enough. Yay! Thank you, Roanoke.
If you want, you can roll your Garu lore, intelligence Garu lore, to inspect these runes.
Oh, I should look up. Well, let's first just say, because first things first, she would photograph that, and she's lightning is the lighting is probably difficult. So she will use a flashlight. Flash,
Okay.
like
Not a flashlight.
no, not a flashlight, but the flash of her
Camera.
camera. Yeah.
Okay.
Damn it! Sorry, my English is really bad today.
That's fine.
You should have seen me like when I was SDing. It was horrible. Yeah, so she will take the pictures with flash, just to make sure that she has at least one good picture of the entire statue placed in its surroundings, and as much of the details as she can get.
Okay. Now make me your intelligence Garu lore, difficulty 9.
Wow. I just needed to look up whether I bought some extra this downtime or not. If not, I have one. I have one. Okay. So intelligence Garu lore, that would be 4 dice total. I love my dice.
Okay. What you notice are these glyphs, and you don't know how you pick this up. You know, you might have heard Malin and Morningkill talking to each other or something, or you might have been around Chases the Storms and Guides Lost talking about Garu history, or you might have even been in with some of the the Garu history lessons that were provided in the set by Mother Larissa herself. With 3 successes at difficulty terror, with a 10, 3 tens, you look at these glyphs, and they have sort of this crescent moon shape with a line through it. And you recognize these glyphs as White Howler glyphs.
Okay.
And I know Cinnamon's heard the tale of the Howlers.
Well, she knows a little of the White Howler, since there is a certain individual that it may or may not be part of that tribe, or at least has a tattoo on his back with her. So yeah, that does definitely pique her interest, and she's making a mental note that she might want to check this out together with Mr. Greenlee at some
You
point.
also
Action.
make me a perception alertness roll.
Okay. Actually, do you also want me to make a roll to see how much of the details I actually get on camera? Because she will definitely photograph these glyphs.
You don't need to roll for that.
Okay, what was the difficulty of the perception alertness?
It was a 7, so yeah.
I'm sure at some point the dice curse will hit me, and probably when I really don't want it.
Um, you almost feel as that this statue of Indec is almost like it's looming over you. You can almost sense, for some reason, like it's reaching out, like its hands, these gnarled fingers, almost tentacle-like and almost Lovecraftian in nature, almost seem like they're moving. Just out of it's never when you look at it directly. It's always just out of the corner of your eye. Um, Maybe it's the atmosphere. Maybe it's the fact that the sound of everything around you seems to have gone fairly quiet. Like you can only hear the slight murmur of the other people on this floor. It's almost like all the machinery, like the air conditioning vents have stopped. The hum of the power source for the lights has gone out, and they almost seem to dim slightly. And maybe it's just your perception of things. Maybe it's your mind getting the better of you. But you almost don't hear the footsteps behind you. And you almost don't have the time to see something moving directly towards you in the peripheral vision, as though something comes up from behind you and you feel a pressure on your shoulder as a hand comes there. Make me a willpower roll, difficulty 10.
Wow. See, when it actually matters.
This scares the ever-loving shit out of you.
Okay.
So you have that sort of that jump scare moment, like somebody has, even though this, for all you know, this hand is the hand of Freddy Krueger, literally coming to clamp down on your shoulder right then and there. At the atmosphere, it's all just gotten to you. And this just literally, if your skin wasn't attached to your skeleton, you would have jumped out of your own skin.
In that case, Vinny, you want odds or evens? Because just need to make a 50-50% chance to see if
Evens.
she would be able to act.
Evens.
That's your favor. That means that nope, she is literally paralyzed for a few seconds, like then turning around.
The hand on you immediately backs away, and you see a woman standing there. And she has backed away from you, both hands up, and she's sort of holding a cane in the crooks of her left arm, like a long sort of walking stick with that's red and white painted with a little ball on the end. And both hands are up. I am so sorry.
Don't ever fucking scare me like that again.
I am really, really sorry.
And then she realizes that Kane woman, she's like, oh, sorry, I just didn't hear you coming, and I guess I was a little too wrapped up. I'm terribly sorry. Damn it.
You see her just kind of like her hand is on her chest. Okay. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. Just as I said, didn't hear you coming, and I thought everybody was just like not near. So
Most of them aren't. Someone told me that there was a pretty spectacular piece in this little maze, and I had to experience it for myself.
experience it for yourself. How?
She'll just sort of has Cinnamon drawn the connection that she's
She's blind.
blind. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. She just kind of smirks. I know we're not supposed to, and she'll just kind of reach up and place a hand very gingerly on the surface of the statue. And she'll just kind of let out a breath as she just smiles. And it's that like chuckling, like, that chuckling breathing, so to speak. It's like, wow.
Okay. I'm sure they'll make an exception for you, but it's like you think it's a spectacular piece just by touching it once.
What can't you? I mean, I can feel it. Can you see the detail in this?
Well, yeah. It is interesting.
Could you describe it for me?
Yeah, I guess. And she'll sit and
Might have lost the Saskia. Wow, she's
her
really
best to
frozen.
give it. Yeah, there you are. Sorry.
There we are.
Yeah, I was like talking and I was like, wait, it's not responding. Oh, great. So, yeah, Cinna will try to give as fair a description as she can possibly give.
Roll your charisma and expression.
Yahoo! Charisma expression. That's 5 dice. If only the one.
Okay, so
I'm sorry. There's one question that I do need to ask, and I'm really sorry for having to ask this. But can I add purebreed to this?
sure, why not?
Wow, 2 successes.
Okay, maybe it's a combination of her, moving her hands over the face of this very Lovecraftian, twisted, sort of almost folklore type deity. And your, average explanation of what you see as her fingers move from one place to the other. She just kind of smiles and she nods, and she just stands back from it. That's really amazing.
This is big. I mean,
The tower's at about 7 feet tall.
yeah, it's big.
I can sort of tell.
Mm.
I need to roll something for her. Perception. Primal urge. Ooh. She suddenly stops as she's sort of has her face guarding the statue, and then she just kind of turns her body fully towards Cinnamon and has her head canted to one side. Huh.
Huh? What? Do I smell her or something?
In a sense, but not necessarily in a bad way.
I did use deodorant just before I came in. I'm really sorry.
That's not what I'm smelling.
Oh. Oof. Yeah, you're right. Oh, wow. That's bad.
Actually, no, your breath has a hint of hazelnut.
Yeah, that's the coffee, but... Oh, yeah.
Do you hang out in Central Park often?
I love being there, like when the sun comes up, because you can make very nice pictures there. But I have some friends who are like volunteers there, but me not so much.
Uh, do you hail
But
from?
wait a minute, let me just, because that was kind of a half lie, I guess.
Oh my.
Well, it was kind of a half lie. I mean, she hangs around in the Central Park. Yeah, not 24/7, but mm, so
Successes on
manipulation. So
perception, empathy.
let's see, manipulations 2, subterfuge 2, so that's 4. Pure breed gets added, I guess. If you ever say no to that, by the way, let me know, okay? Because I'm not using this specific. I'm not using this because I don't know what the fuck that she notices these.
I know. You're fine.
Okay.
Wow. I think you might have her beat.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Wow. Okay. She'll take you at your word, partially anyway. If I were to say that your family lineage traces back to Russia, would I be far off?
I'm English.
Interesting.
What?
It's just that your scent is far more pure than I'm used to.
Give me a moment. Let me just, because this combination of things will probably get her bells tingling right now. I'll just make a pure intelligence or wits check, which is basically the same.
You might go, what's it called? I'll let you add some dice in there.
That's just one die extra, you know, it's not that much.
It's something.
It's an extra success.
Alright,
So,
you can tell that she is definitely pointing you out as part of the nation. The fact that she smelled it, she said that she smelled it, probably a good indicator that she is also, in some sense, related.
she'll raise an eyebrow. She's like, oh. 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 Apparently, they say so.
It's okay.
Never been to Russia, you know. Ukraine, yes. Russia, no.
It's not often that I get to meet, and she'll sort of incline her head to one side and then sort of nod. It's not often that I meet silver fangs anymore.
Really? Oh. Okay. But
And she'll hold out her hand. Joy. Joy's work.
Okay. Cinna. Cinnamon Harris, yeah. But just Cinna.
Fair enough, Cinna. It's nice to meet you. I don't get to meet many, and she'll take another breath in, sort of perplexed. I can't. Are you Garu or Kin?
Are you sure this is the best place to talk about that?
Nobody's around a second. Trust me, I can sense.
Okay. Fine.
Most of the closest person is, she kind of inclines her head again. Sort of a portly fellow, and he's using a power drill. We're fine.
Okay. You say so? No, I'm not one of those. I'm just Kin.
Well, it's always nice to meet, kid.
I guess. Are you one of that?
I am a Garu, however, I'm not of the nation. Sort of an independent streak.
that exists.
Sort of. Every time I meet somebody from the park, it always kind of surprises me that they've never heard of Ronin before.
Ronan, Ronan, Ronan. I,
And you can roll your wits, occult or Garu lore on this one, because I'm pretty sure that there have been a couple howls that Travis has put out, and word of mouth about the Ronin.
well, when it comes to howls, yeah, I have no clue. When it comes to words, gossip,
Yeah, word of mouth. There's definitely a little bit of gossip about the Ronin out there. At least a little bit.
well, if it was a higher difficulty than 7, then I fail.
No, 6. Yeah, you've heard that there's been some rumblings of the Ronin, and that Travis doesn't trust them by sight. But there's never been any actual accusations of them doing anything untoward other than they just happen to exist.
She'll takes a few moments for the penny to actually drop. She's like, oh, okay, sorry. New kid, hi.
It's fine. It's always nice to meet people from the park. I would go in, but I don't think I'd be very welcome.
I don't know. I'm not really the person to say, but maybe not.
I've met Travis a few times. He's very standoffish. Xavier.
Oh, God, Travis, stop.
Xavier seems to be very polite, but I don't think he trusts me either.
When it comes down to it, there's not like anyone really trusting anyone, so don't worry about that.
It's sort of common in the nation.
I guess. Well, they're still cool, but I kind of like have a hate-love relationship with Travis. It's like from time to time he's just so annoying, and it's like, no, you can't do this and you can't do that, and you have to be like this or that. I don't like that very much. But then on the other hand, he's awesome. I mean, he's not water for nothing, It kind of makes sense. He can be pretty cool, but
He's watered now.
oh yeah.
It's interesting to know. I hadn't. Well, to be fair, I haven't talked to him in many months. He had been coming to my clinic to seek psychiatric help, but I suppose he got over.
You're a psychiatrist?
Yeah.
Ew. Sorry.
I'm sorry that upsets you.
Meh. There was this time when I was like 15 and going through that rebellious phase, and actually never really got lost that rebellious phase kind of thing, but they sent me over to one of you, and yeah, let's just say that did not go very well, and after that, it's like, yeah, sorry.
It's fine. Not everybody likes a shrink. I'm sort of used to the distrust or sometimes outright hostility that some people have towards anybody of my profession.
Hey, if it helps you, and I'm sure there are people who need it, but I'm definitely not one of those. And it's all fun and games when they try to figure out stuff, but some of them just don't know when to stop, and then they put in things that are like totally not related to it. And, never mind.
Well, don't worry, I won't be psychoanalyzing you. You're not paying me to, so you're very well safe.
Awesome. I probably never will. Sorry to say.
That's fine. So what are you doing? I mean, I guess it's definitely a chance that I would meet up with Garu again out here. Just didn't expect one to be coming into this exhibit.
Hey, I get paid. No, I like mythology, to be honest, so that's one part of why I'm actually doing this. But I it's kind of I'm a photographer, and well, they asked me to shoot pictures for their brochure, so well, why not?
Oh, you're the freelancer that Sophie was talking about.
Who was? Oh yeah, wait, you know Sophie? Okay, cool.
Sophie and I have worked together on a few projects before. The people from my wellness center, we usually try to organize various people within like the event planning field that are going to college. We try to get them involved in things like this and get community service hours and through that sometimes internships.
Cool. Also, wellness center sounds better than psychiatry.
Well, it was a benefactor. Still remains very anonymous, much to my. But he set it all up, and it's like one part community center, one part gym, one part pool, one part child care center, and we have a clinic. And they said, "Hey, we need some psychologists and counselors." So they gave me and my wife a call, and we couldn't help but accept.
Nice. Sounds cool. Especially the pool sounds nice.
The few times that I have had the time to go swimming, I have found an Olympic-sized pool to be tiring.
Mm.
Not in as great shape as I probably should be for somebody like me.
Because someone like you should be in a great shape. Why psychiatrist, right? All you have to do is sit in an office.
I meant more of my other persona, so to speak.
Oh, you mean oh,
Yeah.
hmm. Well, I guess I don't know. Don't know too much about that kind of stuff. So how? I'm kind of jealous that you could tell like from one sniff or something. How do you
Well,
do that?
it's just a primal part of us, I guess, built in. Being part wolf, we have that ability to take in the scent of something.
Hmm.
And your particular bloodline is usually very strong. Never met a silver fang with diluted blood. Always stronger than average.
Aha. I guess it's they told me something about that before, that my blood is pretty pure, but it sounds kind of weird that you can sniff it. It's like, you guys are werewolves, not vampires. But, sure, I guess.
Well, it might come across in natural pheromones, or for somebody who's able to see, they might be able to see racial traits, things of that nature. I mean, my wife Sarah, she's a strider, a silent strider,
Hmm.
and you could not take her for a silent strider because she's blonde-haired, blue-eyed, and very pale complexion, or at least so she tells me.
Hmm. And you? I mean, I
Me?
can't smell it. Yeah.
Um, at one time, I went by the title of Child of Gaia.
Oh, cool.
Unfortunately, any pure blood that you might have sort of just kind of frowns. Yeah. Sorry, I just a little nostalgic. I miss being around other people like me.
Oh, why don't you just? I mean, is it so bad to be part of the nation?
They wouldn't accept me, at least, at the very least, for my choice of mate.
Okay.
Thou shalt not mate with another Garu.
Oh, that. Right. Yeah.
Well, technically, our union can't bring about any Metaspore.
Yeah. Okay. So what's the problem? I mean, if you say that she's like your wife, then I take it that you guys are like not actually being able to have any kids. So what's the fucking problem? I mean, right?
She'll
And also, you
trust.
should just invent like stronger condoms. Crying out loud. I mean, we live in the 21st century, not the Stone Age.
Well, I mean, look at this country. It's only recently become that it's now federally recognized that a woman and a woman can be married and not same sex.
Hmm.
So that means the next 100 years or so, that discussion will start happening in the nation, maybe. So kind of chuckle at that.
I guess. You know, I like a lot of people um, in the nation. Still kind of weird to say that, but yeah. From time to time, the way that they are thinking and acting is like so ancient.
Well, thousands upon thousands of years of tradition and very rich history. It's something that changes very slowly. I mean, we have more of a recorded history than most human cultures do.
Hmm.
And we span back to a time when, ever since humans existed, we did.
Hmm. Yeah, or so they say. No, seriously, I guess it's just that I don't know. I'm not brought up with that, so I guess I just look at things a little differently. Meh.
So, how much are they paying you for this little gig, if you don't mind me asking?
Why are you thinking of taking up photography? Sorry. Sorry.
She'll
Really bad
her
joke.
expression changes a little bit. Like you can tell that like there's a slight frown there. Like that whole did you really just say that expression? Like she's not amused.
Suda's actually grinning a little, sniggering a bit, and then she notices the expression. She's like, oh, sorry, okay, bad joke, I understand. I've heard that I need to learn when to stop from time to time. Really sorry.
It's okay. That's more of just a general rudeness than specifically tailored towards anybody of our ilk.
I just don't know when to keep my mouth shut, and that's got me into several. It's recently got me like 4 months of garden duty and stuff like that. So yeah, all because I just wanted to have a picnic. Fine, was in the penthouse garden, but hey, I live there as well. It's not a bad thing. Anyway, just to see. I mean, you're not sorry. I'm just you're not the only one that I make feel awkward and stuff like that. So I'm really sorry.
It's okay. I'm a crescent moon. My rage is not as deep as in full moons or even in Galliards.
If anything, if I'm doing anything wrong or if you feel offended, just give me a whack with that stick of yours.
She'll hold it up. I'm afraid that it's well, not so afraid, but it's not really my place to correct you in any way. You're part of the nation. You're kinfolk. That's not my place.
Oh, please. Come on. So you mean that I can just insult you and I would get away with it because I'm part of the fucking That's bullshit.
Not in the way that I felt you inferred it. If you're going to be rude, I'll just simply leave you be, and you can
Um,
go on
okay.
about your business. Otherwise, I'd be very happy to continue a conversation with you.
Well, I'm saying if I'm rude and I don't realize that because, as I said, I have a big mouth and I don't know when to keep it shut, just don't let that be the end of the conversation and just give me a, I don't know, just swing that stick around, you know?
She'll hold it up. I'm afraid this is not a item of combat.
We don't necessarily need to go into. Oh, God. I don't mean like actual. I mean, not that way. Just, friendly, like, hey, stop it, idiots. Okay, I'll stop it. Doesn't
Would you still
necessarily have to.
for just and she'll just flick Cinnamon in the forehead?
Hey, yeah, that. Ow. Say something wrong
Sorry.
already?
No, just testing. And she'll say with sort of this sly grin, so to speak, is that, payback for the,
Mm.
photography comment.
Yeah, I get it. Testing. Hmm. But hey, it's cool. I was asking for it, so sure. And as I said, I prefer that you just come right at me and be like, "Hey, bitch, keep your mouth shut," than you actually just walking away.
Well, then my clients might hear about me beating up patients or just
I'm
individual
not a
people.
fucking patient.
I know I poor choice of words.
Very
Or
poor. Do you
just
want me to slap you with your stick?
she'll hold the stick out if you think that you're able.
Well, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna slap a blind woman. I'm sorry. No, especially not with her own stick. Actually, I would probably slap you if it was really necessary, but no, and I'm not gonna do it here.
Do, 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 do.
What did I just
Um,
do?
you can roll your athletics, Dex athletics.
Oh yeah, great. Let me do that. Here comes the awesomeness.
So as you say, I'm not going to hit a blind woman. She has she moves in front of you, almost like a blur, not necessarily supernatural blur, but you notice that she's very graceful on her feet. And she sort of moves around you, and before you can react, she is actually standing behind you, and she actually has sort of just the tips of her fingers resting on the back of your neck. And she's just kind of smirking. She leans over Cinna's shoulder. I'm much more capable than I appear.
Would you stop that?
Certain limitations that my disability place on me, I have workarounds. I just didn't have those when I was born, so I'm very comfortable and much more comfortable with a stick. But I
Hmm.
don't exactly need it.
Still, there's no need for me to beat you, but don't do that again.
She'll just pat Cinnamon on the back and step in front of her again. Duly noted, I won't do it again. So, if you wouldn't mind answering my question I asked you before, how much are they giving you for this little engagement?
That is a rather rude question.
Well, we do need a photographer for the Brand Center, and
Hmm. Well, um, I usually charge a little more, but they they're paying me 700 for it.
So if he picked you out of a pool of any number of people, he picked you for a reason. I'm guessing you're very good at what you do.
Hey, awesome. I mean, seriously, well, it's not that you're able to see them, but man, I should work on something like that. That might be interesting. Making a picture in a way that a blind person can see it. That's cool. It's a good idea. Awesome. With textures and with levels and oh my god, that's a good idea. Sorry. No, I'm not that I'm not that famous, and I don't really need to be. This is just to pay the rent, and I don't actually have rent at the moment. Which is a good thing. But no, I had a job with the Geodyne company, and they were really pleased with it, apparently, or at least, yeah. And
She'll
then
kind of like she'll make kind of like a threat to the space. She'll just kind of like, ooh, I'm afraid there's nothing I can offer you that they're already offering you.
hey, I'm not necessarily like. Hmm? I mean, I'm done with that job practically. Unless they're asking me something else, but it was a one-time job, just to provide them with pictures of the river, actually, for in their lobby.
I'm afraid that I'll tell you what. If you'd like, um, you can always come by the wellness center if you want. And if you were to happen to take a few pictures and email them to our secretary, you might be compensated if it's something that we can use for our advertising or website.
Sure, I can do that if you want to. I mean, it's always good to have your name out there.
And of course, you would have full access to the pool. She'll say with kind of a smirk.
I prefer to have a clause in my contract that I won't be psychoanalyzed.
I can't. I can't contract you to do this. This would be purely on a freelance basis. But how about? And she'll just hold out her hand. How about just a solemn promise?
I'll take that promise.
Well, Cinnamon.
Yeah,
It was a pleasure to meet you.
definitely. It was awesome.
And she'll take a few steps back, and she'll put the cane down almost as if, it's just, she's so used to it by now, as she explained, and she sort of disappears around the opposite corner that you came in through, leaving Cinnamon by herself.
Yeah, she'll Suna's actually gonna walk up to the statue again, and she's like, poke, poke.
It does nothing.
And she'll turn her back towards it and walk away as well.
I think the rest of the night will be spent with Cinnamon playing or not playing, but photographing the centerpieces of the exhibit and conferring with Sophia until we have a good idea of how they want to go about things. And at that point, we can go ahead and call that a scene.
Yes.